Brexit, weed, Trump visits the UK, Mars, space, loads of things have been happening over here in Blighty. I'm Piglet. Welcome to Meanwhile in Britain. Greetings once again and welcome to the show. I am late, and that's not because I am a fat piece of shit who is copying a well-known progressive YouTuber. No. That is not the case whatsoever. I'll have you know that this was given to me by my second cousin. This is definitely not Kyle Kalinski's jacket. I mean, what do you take me for? This is original content, I'll have you know. But anyway, let's start off with the light news. Heat waves everywhere. The UK has been bombarded by solar flares known as the sun. Light, heat, things that are completely alien to us here. The country's burning. We've become California. Again, I'm not saying that I'm like this particular YouTuber, I mean, and this other one here. Alright, I mean, it's been hot. So much so that it was burning for weeks. Manchester, ablaze. Well, okay, the moors outside of it were blazing, and we could smell the smoke for ages, and I got confused with the restaurant down the road, which is Shisha, and they burn everything. I thought it was them. No, it turns out to be wildfires in the moors, and also in Wales. The country just could not handle this heat, to the point that the trains were stopping. People were told to be careful, to stay indoors because it's far too hot outside. Britons all around the country and the seaside resorts rejoiced, as for once, their seasides looked actually like seasides. I know. It wasn't gloomy for once. And now with the politics, once again Brexit was causing fresh drama as Theresa May launched her Chequers plan to much condemnation to her party. For the Remainers, it wasn't enough. We were still leaving when we shouldn't. Seriously, forget democracy, because, you know, democracy only works when we like it, obviously. And honestly, as an impartial progressive host of this show, there needs to be a second vote. The people just don't know what they're talking about. I mean, even if we do have Brexit, at least when it inevitably fails, I can look back and say to myself, well, as a middle class progressive, at least I warned those stupid plebs in the lower classes that they should have voted Remain, because otherwise, well, they wouldn't be failures now, would they? This resulted in the resignation of the Brexit secretary, and then finally Boris, good old Bojo, left to be replaced by the Premier reshuffle Jeremy Hunt. Brexit even caused former footballers, England legends like Lineker, saying that Brexit is definitely not coming home and that we should be trying to get yet another democratic vote because democracy didn't work the first time for us, so let's work at it again. Let's ignore the vote because that's going to help footballers with math pieces on the BBC, although he's not saying it there, but regardless, he thinks that he should speak to everybody else in his superior mind. Obviously, big brain Lineker, lovely hair and facial hair and good taste in crisps. He's going to tell us that Brexit is wrong, and good on him, I say. Good on him. In the end, the EU rejected the Chequers plan, as predicted by certain Brexiteers like Mog. But, you know, it's not good enough. Nobody likes Theresa May, she's not good enough. Next, political news. Donald Trump visited the UK and created a whole storm. In fact, why was this orange guy even here in the first place? He has no right to come here as the leader of the free world. Does he think he is? Obviously, the Russians are just invading us again. They've already killed people in Novichok and other radioactive assassination attempts, and now they're bringing a full-scale invasion of Trump and his cadre of Secret Service people. But trust me, that is an invasion force. They are the scouting force, reconnoitering the country, ready for that final invasion, where those bombers aren't just going to turn around. No, they're going to continue to London, to Birmingham, to Manchester, and drop those bombs. She warned you. And the public reacted in amazing fashion. Balloons, showing that, yeah, he's clearly thin-skinned. Of course he would hate seeing a balloon making him look like a baby. It's totally not us looking like absolute babies. by thinking that if we project that onto him, that makes him look bad. I mean, yeah, definitely, a balloon is going to really showcase what we think about him and his policies and why we think he should not have been elected, and why we agree that even though there is no evidence, as of yet, from this probe into whether or not he is a Russian agent, and if Russia did tamper with the election, I mean, there is no evidence and hasn't been in the last couple of investigations, but nonetheless, we do think that he did it, and this is going to help. And let's not forget, we can enlist help from the LGBT community, as a local drag queen from Wisborough joined in to give us some wonderful enrichment. Makes you proud to be British, doesn't it? He met the Queen, and gosh, horror, he turned his back on her. How dare he? How dare he? Doesn't he know that there's etiquette involved when you meet Her Majesty? I mean, even though I am part of a movement which is a mostly Republican type of movement, for the Yanks, Republican in this country means anti-monarchy, but you do not criticise our Queen. Hell no. She's politically convenient for us when we need her to be. Protests were had all across Britain, and especially in London, where hundreds of thousands, no wait, tens of thousands, no wait, a couple of thousand well-meaning progressive people, true British citizens, protested Trump and his cavalcade, their invasion force, and thus he left with his tail between his legs, and they did the country proud, damn it. Also in the news, cannabis-based medicines get green light as UK eases rules. Hippies and nearly dying people rejoice. You will be finally getting your good greens. And I'm not just talking about spinach. And in science news, Fetch rover, the robot to retrieve Mars rocks, is being built in the UK. The European Space Agency is issuing contracts to industry to spec the technology needed for what will be a complex joint undertaking with the US. Aerospace giant Airbus will scope the concept for a surface Fetch rover, and that is being built here in the UK. UK spaceport is proposed for Sutherland site in a move that will put much pride into the hearts of many Brits and especially Scots. Amongst us, the UK is finally perhaps getting its own spaceport after the aborted cases in the 60s and 70s to create our own space programme. Highlands and Islands Enterprise will be given £2.5 million from the UK government to develop the spaceport, which could be up and running by the early 2020s. Sutherland is the first vertical launch site to be awarded the grant money ahead of other vertical sites at Unst, Shetland and North Uist in the Western Isles. Once the site is developed, HIE said it expected that 400 people could be employed across different sites, and that up to 6 launches of microsatellites could be carried out each year. Lockheed wants to bring the Electron rocket to Scotland. Currently, this vehicle flies out of New Zealand. An exciting new era. The UK Space Agency said that the site in Sutherland was chosen as it's the best place in the UK to reach highly sought after satellite orbits with vertically launched rockets. This will surely bring a boost to the economy, and it will surely bring a boost to our scientific endeavours, to our community, to our people, and hopefully will put us eventually in the far-flung future at the forefront of commercial space travel. I for one welcome such things. Britain's largest gold nugget found on the Scottish riverbed. Amateur prospector makes 85.7 gram discovery while lying face down to search river. I assume he must have thought he was drunk when he saw this, but in fact he was not. This was quite the discovery. Previously it was found in Cornwall in 1808. The biggest one was only 59 grams. Alright my lovers, I'm afraid in Cornwall that, well, your record is broken, much like your language. Finally, on the French front, we have once again beaten the French. We may not have beaten them in football, but don't worry, we simply didn't have a chance to beat them in the final, for we were rudely interrupted by the Croatians. The Bayeux Tapestry is coming home after 1,000 years in France. This 70-metre long tapestry showing the achievement of William the Conqueror in conquering our fair nation, which by the way, he was not French, he was actually a Nord, a slightly French Nord, but mostly of Nordic stock, I'll have you know, is currently on display permanently at the Musée de la Tapisserie de Bayeux in Normandy. An agreement will see the UK showcase this in museums while it undergoes refurbishment. This is a resounding victory for England, and surely the French will go back with their lack of tails between their frogs' legs. And we, of course, can begin to marvel at the absolute beauty in which our ancestors created. And that is Meanwhile in Britain, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the show. I certainly enjoyed the show. A little bit of a short one today, but do not worry, for I will be back later on this month for August's events. Until next time, Rule Britannia.